Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Daily Dose. Today is Thursday, July 21st, and we saw yet another day of the stock market rallying. So we've seen 3 straight days now of gains on the stock market. The NASDAQ led once again. As you can see right here, Tesla was up just under 10% after they reported earnings last night. And we saw some rate hikes in Europe. So the tech-heavy NASDAQ gained 1.3% today. The S&P was up 1%, and the Dow Jones was up about 0.5%. So if you want to take a look at Amazon, it gained for the 7th straight day. And if it gains again tomorrow, it will be its longest winning streak since June of 2020. So the big tech stocks have been gaining, but we haven't really seen earnings from the biggest companies in the stock market yet, like Apple and Microsoft, so that could really shake things up. AT&T beat earnings, but they lowered their outlook for annual free cash flow, so we saw their stock drop significantly. United Airlines also dropped significantly after they missed on their earnings. And like I said, we saw a rate hike from the ECB, and they expected 0.25% rate hike, and they got a 0.5% rate hike. So again, this kind of goes back to what we've been saying now for a couple weeks, and that's that the gains in the stock market are good, but these central banks are still tightening the economy, and historically, QE and QT is the most reliable indicator when it comes to the stock market. It almost runs perfectly with that. So if we're going to see continual tightening, then we can't expect these gains forever. It's going to have to get pushed back down if this is the way that they're going to go. So again, so we got this quote from co-founder of DataTrek, and he says, "Only earnings truly matter. Other issues are simply sidebars to that main narrative," and that's true. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about earnings, and that's really it. And we've kind of seen a mix in earnings beats and earnings misses, but like I said a little bit ago, we haven't seen earnings come out of Apple yet. We haven't seen earnings come out of Microsoft, or we haven't seen earnings come out of Amazon or Google, and those are the companies that are really going to shift the market and the sentiment surrounding the economy. If those companies beat, then you're going to start seeing people saying, hey, maybe we're coming out of this downturn. And if they miss, not only is it going to push their stocks down, not only is it going to push the market down because they make up most of the weighting in the stock market, but it's going to really, really hurt sentiment if those companies miss, and it's going to have even an effect on companies that have already beat on earnings. So, for instance, Tesla, which has been rallying pretty heavily, you will see that drop if these big tech companies miss, and if these tech companies are reducing their outlooks for the near future. So just be cautious. Definitely not trying to scare anybody, but just be cautious. You don't want to get caught up in the hype of the markets ever. That's usually a good way to lose money. So let's take a look at the S&P 500. And I know usually I have the 1-day view up, but I've got the 5-day view up. If you're interested in what happened today, this is from today. We really just, again, we sold off a little bit in the morning and then rallied throughout the day. So kind of honestly flipped from what we saw last week. Last week we'd see a lot of buying at the beginning of the day, and then selling throughout the rest of the day. And we saw the opposite today. We saw a lot of selling at the beginning, and then it got bought up from there. Finished up just under 1%. And this is how the week has looked so far. So the past 3 days have been good for stocks. So I want to take a look at Bitcoin once again. So Bitcoin, I spread this zone back out through here. So Bitcoin might not come back and touch this trend line. Right now it's sitting, and you can see it rejected right off this zone. Bitcoin is sitting right above the top of this zone that it was previously coiled up in. So it looks like it's testing it right now. It's still holding up, so I still expect the 28 to 30,000 mark to be hit and tested before any selling or a breakthrough from there. But it has not broken below this zone. It's still showing that it's above, so I do still expect this price from Bitcoin. And I did actually see an interesting video on Twitter last night, and I can't verify how true it is, but there was a bank in China that said that basically that the people who had deposited money into the bank no longer owned the assets, and they were not letting them withdraw their money. And there was a lot of people saying that this was a big case for Bitcoin. And actually, I went to order a hardware ledger for my Bitcoin to take it off exchanges and get it on a ledger. And when I went to go do that, a lot of the models were sold out. So it seems like the sentiment around Bitcoin, at least for the people that own it, is to get it into a safe place right now. And that's a good thing, but it's not necessarily correlated with the price. So this is what the price action is telling us. It's still hovering right above this zone, so I'm still expecting this as it broke the trend line and through the top of this zone. But we will keep an eye on it, and I will keep you updated. But that's all I have for you guys today. Again, we've got still a lot of big earnings coming up, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Be sure to be here tomorrow for our last episode of the Daily Dose for the week, and be sure to join us this weekend on Saturday for our third weekly wrap. It's going to be a great episode, so thank you for joining me today, and I will see all of you tomorrow.